Hey there again. So here we are at the foot of the Western Greenway Trail. We're in Waltham, Massachusetts, and just across the street from Bentley University. So nice area. But I wanted to show you some differences in the bark patterns and the different ways that sugar maples can look as they progress through different ages in their life cycle. So here's our first specimen. A fairly young tree, so you wouldn't want to tap a sugar maple like this. But you can see when they're young and they're growing fast, they can get pretty smooth bark. This one has little bumps, but you don't always see that. Sometimes it can appear quite smooth. You can tell it's a sugar maple because here at the start of the sugaring season, or thereabouts, maybe the middle or beginning, you see these developing buds. They're kind of spear-shaped and pointy, and yeah. Characteristic of all maples, you usually see those Y-shaped branching patterns that very commonly appear. Pretty much whenever you see a branch, in a perfect world, it'll try to make a sort of Y slingshot shape and branch off in both directions, 100 sort of like opposed to each other in that Y shape. But yeah, the main thing to get across is that, these smooth bark trees that people see and, assume are not maples actually can be. You just got to look at those buds, branching patterns, the leaves on the ground if you have them in the winter, and obviously while it's leafing in the summer and spring months, you can just look at the leaves pretty easily to identify it. There's the crown area of it, just to give you an idea. So moving on to a more still probably a juvenile tree. You wouldn't want to tap a tree this size. Circumference is maybe 14 inches, so divide that by 3 to get the diameter of about, I don't know, I guess the diameter must be around 6 inches, so maybe it's kind of ovally. Yeah, my finger span is about 6 inches or 7 inches, so it's almost big enough to tap. I wouldn't tap it. Generally, if it's, between that, you really want a tree with a diameter over around a foot. But, you could probably get away with tapping a diameter between like 8 and 12 inches, but I wouldn't tap this tree. It does look very healthy, though. Still pretty smooth, though you can see it getting a little bit more textured in the bark. You can start to see some of that platelet forming down here that you see in the more mature trees. Not a lot of lichen, which is good. It's staying healthy. And it doesn't have branches or leaves for a good way up there since the canopy is pretty high, but the branches that I do see seem healthy for the most part, except for that bottom one. And the crown seems good too. You see a lot of that white Y-shaped budding going on, and it's hard to tell from here, but you do see those little pointy bits that, indicate a pointy bud shape for those where those leaves are going to come out, and which indicates sugar maple. So the next one I want to show you is I would say this tree is mature, quite tappable. I don't know if you want to say that I'd tap that or something like that, but maybe I'll work that into the script better in the future, but that's my joke, I guess. Anyways, you can start to see the more characteristic sugar maple bark forming here. The platelets are starting to come off in the sort of strong fashions. Starting to sort of look like they're sloughing off, but they're still quite solid. So that's how the bark looks on a more mature tree. Looking at the crown, we can see that it is way up there. Maybe 50 feet, over 50 feet. But it's quite developed up there, got a good amount of leaves. The branches are going out in all directions and seem quite healthy. And now we're going to take a look at some really mature ones. So this one I've actually got a tap going on. And the platelets are really starting to get that characteristic look, so I was very sure this was a sugar maple. It's got that white and green lichen going on at the base there. and I tapped it over here. It might be sort of an old wives' tale or just, you know, folk knowledge or superstition, if you will, but I tapped it on the south side just because, you know, it tends to warm up better with a southern exposure that you can kind of get on the edge of the woods here. So my thinking is that if it warms up faster, that tapped area, you know, if there's any ice that's blocking the lines or, you know, some coldness in the tree on the south side with the sun, that coldness is definitely going to dissipate quickest. Alright, now I'm going to show you a real old guy where you can get some really crazy looking stuff, especially on the edge of a wood like this. Sorry about the cars, by the way. So here's what a really crazy looking mature maple tends to look like. Sometimes they can look so crazy it's hard to tell they're even maples at this point, but yeah, you can see some maple leaves here. You've got that U shaping on the leaf that indicates sugar maple, and let's see if I can get a better leaf here to show you those edge lobes, but you can also see pretty well developed lobes here that, you know, are the, if these are the 5 points of the maple, the pinky and the thumb are well developed. So that's what you want to look for too. Although it's hard right now with all these leaves being so disintegrated. So yeah, you can see it here, pretty well developed pinky and thumb. The bark is just crazy. Sloughing off like this. You see these like sort of like plastery looking patches that you get on these older trees here. Lichen and moss is developing pretty steadfastly in colony type fashions. Let's get a look at this side. And you just get these really strong branches, you know, just coming out at 90-degree angles to the trunk because they're really getting into that sunlight. But as you get further at the tree, you can see more of those Y-shaping branches. Overall, this tree still seems very healthy. I'd say you could tap it for sure, but definitely don't want to overstrain it. And if branches start falling off, definitely try to avoid tapping it and give it some time to recover. But it's a real beautiful tree, I can tell you that. Alright, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Like and comment and subscribe if you have any questions or you want to learn more as time goes on, because I'm going to be posting a lot more of these nature type videos for sure. Thanks for watching.